You know, when you think about the genius inventors who really shaped our modern world, one name just has to come up: Nikola Tesla. He's the guy who gave us the alternating current system that, well, powers pretty much everything in our lives. But that was really just the tip of the iceberg for him.
I mean, this guy's genius was all over the place: robotics, radar, even early computer science. He wasn't just an inventor, he was a full-blown visionary. But it's his biggest, most ambitious dream, the one that never quite happened, that leads us down a pretty fascinating and, believe it or not, an ancient rabbit hole.
Just picture it for a second. A world with no power lines, no charging cables. A world where electricity is just in the air, available for anyone, anywhere. That was the absolutely breathtaking goal Tesla was aiming for.
So, how was he going to pull this off?
Well, Tesla figured he could use the Earth itself and the upper atmosphere as one giant natural electrical circuit. All he had to do was build a network of broadcast towers, and he could literally energize the entire globe, making power accessible to everybody.
And get this, it wasn't just some crazy idea on a chalkboard. Tesla actually proved the science worked. He did successful demonstrations of wireless power, but the money for a project that big, that world-changing, it just never came through. And so his dream, it seems, just faded away. But what if it didn't really die?
And that right there leads us to this really wild question. What if Tesla wasn't actually inventing something brand new? What if he was rediscovering a powerful technology from our ancient past, something that's been lost for thousands of years?
So there's this incredible theory out there that suggests Tesla's network of power towers was in fact a modern-day attempt to rebuild a super sophisticated power grid that existed ages and ages ago.
According to this theory, all those mysterious obelisks you see around the world, they weren't just monuments. Nope. They were the power towers of an ancient, planet-wide, wireless energy grid.
In this view, see, obelisks are way more than just carved stone. We're talking about massive structures, each carved from a single piece of granite, which is packed with quartz crystal. The theory goes that they were cut to very specific dimensions, so they would resonate, vibrate at a precise frequency, turning them into perfect energy transmitters.
Okay, but a broadcast tower is pretty useless without a power source, right? So if these obelisks were transmitting energy, where in the world was all that electricity coming from to begin with?
Well, the way it might have worked is actually really familiar. The idea is that ancient power stations, a lot like Tesla's own plant at Niagara Falls, used the power of flowing water. This energy would spin magnetic fields, generating AC power, which a nearby obelisk could then just pump into this global grid.
So what you're looking at is a totally decentralized system, a whole network of local power stations and broadcast towers all over the planet, all feeding into one giant energy field. But hold on, because this is just the start. The theory takes this idea to a truly planetary scale.
I mean, what if, beyond all those little local stations, there was one central power plant for the entire planet? A source of energy so huge, it could power a whole civilization on a global scale.
This is where proponents of the theory, folks like author Christopher Dunn, come in. They argue that the Great Pyramid of Giza, well, it wasn't a tomb at all. It was a colossal power machine. They say its complex inner chambers weren't for burial rituals, but were designed to harness and convert the Earth's own natural energies, maybe tapping into seismic vibrations or electrical currents flowing through the planet itself.
I mean, the scale of this whole operation is just mind-blowing. The theory suggests the pyramid could generate this immense power, focus it all into a concentrated microwave beam, and then shoot that beam up into space to a satellite orbiting the Earth.
So you'd have this satellite just hanging out in orbit, basically acting like a giant relay station in the sky. It could catch that energy beam from the pyramid and then redirect it with pinpoint accuracy to any spot on the planet's surface.
With a system like that, you could power absolutely anything, anywhere on the planet. A remote city, an outpost on some isolated place like Easter Island, or something even more advanced, something that could move. And that brings us to maybe the coolest application of this whole theoretical power grid. You could free advanced technology from ever needing to carry its own fuel.
You've probably heard of the incredible flying machines called Vimanas, described in ancient texts from around the world, like the Hindu Vedas. The big question has always been, what powered them? Well, this theory might just have an answer. They were powered remotely from this very grid.
And really, from an engineering standpoint, it makes perfect sense. Think about it.
A vehicle's biggest weight problem is almost always its engine and its fuel. If you take both of those off the vehicle, you could create unbelievably light, fast, and nimble aircraft totally free from the limits of onboard power.
You could even have a mobile power source, like a mothership, just beaming energy down to smaller scout ships. The little craft would just need a receiver to soak up that energy and turn it directly into thrust. It sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? But the theory proposes it as ancient fact.
Which brings us all the way back to Nikola Tesla. Was his grand vision of a wireless world a stroke of pure, futuristic genius all his own? Or was he, maybe without even knowing it, tapping into some fundamental cosmic principle, a forgotten blueprint for a technology that once powered the entire ancient world? Now that is something to think about.